God bless football. Mikey A?
God bless football, Stugotz.
Thank you. It's just the two of us. How about that?
Yeah, how about that?
Where's Billy?
Billy's got to go drop kids off at school.
Really?
I guess.
All right. James Franklin is 1-18 in his career versus AP top 5 teams.
You're 1-18. You're not even gonna build up to it. You're just gonna come dunk on James Franklin bright and early in the morning, and you know what? He deserves it. 1-18?
Yes. 1-18. Let me say that again, okay? Because suddenly, after 2 playoff wins, he became the greatest postseason coach in the history of college football because he was undefeated in the postseason against teams that had no business being in the postseason. How about that, okay? And then all of a sudden, he became Big Game James. And they get out to a lead last night. The rare game, by the way, that starts as a complete clunker and turns into a classic by the end. I mean, unbelievable. But James Franklin jumps out to the lead, and then he does James Franklin types things. And Drew Aller throws a terrible pass, middle of the field, late in the game, and Notre Dame wins, and Penn State loses. And again, 1-18 versus the AP top 5 ranked teams throughout his career.
As someone who sprinkled some shekels in his DraftKings account on Notre Dame, I never doubted you for a second, James Franklin. I never doubted you for a second that you were going to make sure that you went back to your standard of losing big games.
Speaking of dumping some shekels into DraftKings, you can join us for our listener league presented by Smirnoff, the world's #1 vodka. Please drink responsibly. How'd you do last week, Mikey?
Not great. Not great. Nope. I had big plans for certain guys, and they just did not. No, wasn't a good week for me.
Didn't pan out, huh?
Mike Evans was supposed to dominate that game, and he kind of just inched over his 86 yards or whatever he needed line. Mm-hmm. So that was bad. None of my running backs. Yeah, it was just a bad week. I probably finished in the 400s.
All right. Well, I was going to say do better, but it's impossible to do worse. So
yeah, and yet I have.
Yeah, we have another college football semifinal tonight. Wild Card Weekend is coming up. We're going to discuss all of it, of course, with the guys who secured JoshAllen.com. I was going to say Chris Sims, and then at the last second, I realized, we have the guys who secured the domain name, which we discussed on the Le Batard Show earlier this week. We have the guys who have secured the domain name for Josh Allen. It's JoshAllen.com. We're going to try to pry it away from him. But Chris Sims is going to join us as well. Today's episode of God Bless Football is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. So, Mikey, Notre Dame, do you feel like they have, based on what you saw last night, again, started off as a lousy game, turned into a classic, do you think Notre Dame has a realistic chance against the 2 teams we're going to see play tonight, which is Ohio State and Texas? Ohio State has suddenly become the greatest team in the country.
I think both Ohio State and Texas have a little bit of roller coaster to them. And the problem is, I will say that if either of those teams, Ohio State or Texas, plays one of their good to perfect games, Notre Dame doesn't stand a chance. But if they catch them on one of those off days, Notre Dame is physical enough and they're good enough. Hopefully they get a little healthier by then to actually win that game. Yes.
So you're saying Ohio State's best is better than Notre Dame's best. If they both came out and played their best games, their A games, their absolute best games, Ohio State is going to beat Notre Dame.
I think if Ohio State plays their A game, nobody's beating them in that slot. Texas isn't beating an Ohio State A game, and Notre Dame certainly isn't beating an Ohio State A game.
The Golics have to be happy this morning, huh?
Yeah, I imagine that it was a late night for Junior. Mike probably watched that game recorded at 3 a.m. this morning when he got up.
I would say if Senior merely made it up for the game, like he stayed up for the entire game, that's the latest he's been up in a long time, man. Yeah. It was a great game.
And he watches it at 3 a.m. when he gets up for his morning coffee.
Yeah, well, listen. In James Franklin's defense, and it's tough to defend a guy who's 1-18 versus the AP top 5 since he started coaching at Penn State. But in his defense, what Penn State at least proved to me is that they belonged in college football's Final Four. They did. They played very, very well. That's an athletic team. Played very, very well, and had every chance to win that game, especially at the end. They had chances, Mike.
Listen, James Franklin didn't fall down and let Notre Dame score a big touchdown at the one point of the game you can't fall down and let Notre Dame score a touchdown. And James Franklin didn't throw that awful pass in the middle of the field when it was just no reason to do that right then.
Right. Did you feel bad for Allard?
No. No. You make a bad decision, you live with it. It happens.
Yeah, but he's going to think about that decision every day for the remainder of his life.
I felt worse for the kid that fell down because your feet got tripped up and you gave up the touchdown. Allard made a football play and he messed up.
Yeah. I felt great for the rest of the country because for one more week we get to see Marcus Freeman. Chris Sims are the guys who own the domain for JoshAllen.com. Next. We were discussing on the show how disappointed we were in ourselves for not securing certain domains that have been sold since for many, many, many millions of dollars, including stuff like birds.com or cars.com. How did I not grab that domain? Why did you guys grab the domain JoshAllen.com?
I just, I'm a super fan, and obviously I study the market. I watch domains, and I own a lot of .coms. And so I just knew I fought for this one for several years and finally got the owner to sell to me. And I've just obviously with Josh, in Buffalo, Josh Allen is our messiah, right? And with his lucrative contracts, his endorsements, it's just a great investment for me to have and hold and wait for the right opportunity to present itself.
How much did you buy it for, if you don't mind me asking?
It's 5-figure range, in the 5 figures.
Okay, and what are you selling it? Because I'm going to try to buy it from you, just so you know. But what are you trying to sell it for now?
Yes. So if you work for Nike, at $1 million. If you work for Pepsi, $1 million. If you're, trying to monetize and doing an endorsement and doing a deal, I'm at $300K.
300. That wow.
If you're Josh Allen,
right?
Yeah. So we do get hits, right? I do get interest, and so I'm just waiting for the right fit. Josh Allen's camp, maybe his agent, Pepsi or Nike, they're all his major endorsements. So
Oh, go ahead. Finish up. I want to hear this.
Yeah, so it's plausible that, I'll get the call or do a deal with one of these giants, right, that are already sponsoring him.
Right. Well, since you're good at this and you do this and you study this, I'm assuming you have all kind of the Josh Allen, JoshAllen12.com. Do you have all of those? Do you have everything secured so Josh is forced to buy it from you if indeed he wants to?
100%. Yeah. So I also own, so we call him the alien, Josh Alien.
Right.
So I own JoshAlien.com.
You're
right?
smart. Yeah, you're smart.
I own Josh Allen Madden Football, right? Because he's the face of Madden Football now.
Right.
So I own that as well, right? So maybe, the Madden people call me, hey, if they want to monetize it and promote the Josh domain. So if you segue over to Patrick Mahomes, it's Adidas. It's an Adidas platform. So if we go to patrickmahomes.com, he's selling millions of dollars in Adidas merchandise, right? Tom Brady, right? TB12. He's selling all of his merch and his endorsements, his speaking engagements. So these guys monetize these at a very high level. So I knew after I fought for this for several years,
genius.
I never give up. I never give up, right? If I want something and I know it's going to have a good payoff, I'll be white on rice till I get it.
So I have 2 questions. The first one is for Stugotz. Did you think that Josh Allen's number was 12 and that's why
It's
you said
17.
Josh Allen 12.
It's 17. I made a mistake.
Because it's directly behind him, where he has the 17.
No, I know. Yes. For those of you, Todd,
you guys caught it. We're being so polite. I appreciate that. I'm not going to be as polite.
There's a cardboard cutout of Josh Allen right behind Todd's business partner, but Todd was standing in the way of it. Okay, so I was thinking TB12, to be honest with you. Go ahead. What's your next question, Mikey?
All right, here's my next question. What would Josh Allen? You're welcome. Suppose Josh Allen calls you and be like, "Listen, I'm not going to give you the $300K, but I got 2 Super Bowl tickets. I got a flight out there. I got a hotel. Is there any kind of trade we're talking about here? Signed jersey with it and the whole bit."
Yeah, we'll give you $10,000 off and a check for $299.
I like them. I like them a lot. It's not worth it.
Oh my! So you have ensured that if Josh Allen wants a domain, that he has to go through you guys to get said domain.
100%. Yeah.
Wow.
100%.
This is amazing.
Yeah. So if you go to GoDaddy, you can go to the GoDaddy platform and you punch in joshallen.com. You'll see the evaluation on GoDaddy. It's like $1,090,000.
Wow.
That's the price on GoDaddy.
Right. Ron, how you feeling about all this?
Love it. I mean, but what we're looking to sell this for is to kind of use some seed funding for a new company product that we're putting out. It's fentanyl testing strips. We want to make them readily available at, your corner stores, bodega. So it's not like, Todd's selling this, he's going to buy a Lamborghini tomorrow with it. We're going to put this to really good work, save a lot of lives with harm reduction tools.
That's a good job by you guys. I am. I'm happy to hear you're doing something productive other than securing domain names. Okay, you guys are helping people. So what if main
objective? Yeah.
What if I offered you $250K today? What would you say to me?
With Super Bowl tickets and a signed autographed jersey from Josh Allen?
Yeah.
Okay, then we got a deal.
Really? Okay. What if
he puts you in a room with Josh Allen?
That's all I do is I just put you in a room with Josh Allen. What do you think?
No homo? I'm good.
What other domains do you own?
I've got some. This is just us talking, right?
Yes. Yeah. No one's listening.
Sure.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
I've got some VIPs. I've got some high-level people. I have a list. I have a big list. But at the end of the day, the highest value one that I have is Josh, right? There's nothing that's going to beat his evaluation than out of my entire portfolio.
I think you guys find this funny too. I started working with Todd this summer, and he's made a substantial amount of money selling phone numbers.
Yeah, they sell phone numbers too.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, I got a lesson in this, and I'm dude, I got to start doing this.
So I have hundreds of phone numbers, vanity numbers, right? I sell them to attorneys, high-level companies. So I've been brokering phone numbers and domains for a long time. And, again, you have to buy right, and you got to find who's the best partner and or good match, right? So all the ubiquitous advertising with lawyers, right? Lawyers are lawyers, right? The really good ones are good marketers. They're not any better lawyer than others, but they know how to catch the fish, right? And that's where a good domain and or a good phone number comes into play. So I can get like 716 or, all eights. We call those repeaters, 444, 4444. I get 100K for those, right?
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
Wow.
So I've been doing this for, 20 years, right? And I've got a lot of networking partners. So we know how to dig, we know how to break legs, we know how to twist arms, and we know how to make deals happen.
Right.
But my biggest baby is Josh, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's where we're just looking for a good partner and or a good relationship. We want it to go into the right hands.
It seems like you're looking to extort him. If we're going to be honest, it seems like you're looking just to get money from him, not a partnership.
And some Super Bowl tickets. That's all.
No, it's plausible. So here on the other end, I can monetize the out of this site just by selling merchandise, right?
Yeah.
So that's option B.
Wow.
And I don't have to. I can either pay the NFL their licensing and sell millions off of this mark every month, right? And or I can go plan B and sell generic football stuff and still do super well. In Buffalo, anything that has Josh Allen, it flies off the shelves, right? The amount of merchandise that they sell in this market is astronomical. Every store you go to, every car you see, something has either Buffalo Bills or Josh Allen on it.
Wow. I can't believe, how's the guy? Do you speak to the guy that you bought it from? Because he gave it up for a cheap price.
Yeah. So this was, I've had it for a few years now, but I do get hits, right? I've had lots of different brokers call me. I even had Josh Allen. He's not the Josh Allen, but another Josh Allen that wanted to buy it. And, we were just too far apart.
You had to be was he pretending to be Josh Allen? What was he doing?
No. Just a guy named Josh Allen who's in media marketing. And he goes, yeah, that was my domain. And I'm like, yeah, it's my domain. And,
You're a badass.
Yeah, it is. It's real estate, man. It's real estate, right? So digital real estate. And, but yeah, the right deal comes along, I'll do business.
How do you get around cyber squatting laws?
You'll have to check with your attorney on that. But at the end of the day, it's real estate. I own it. That's not really it's just an item that I own, right? So I'm not infringing on Josh Allen, or I don't have his picture. I'm not monetizing it as I am Josh Allen's representative or agent. I just, at this point, possess it for the deal.
Now, if Josh just won a Super Bowl, like he won a Super Bowl, you guys are big Bills fans, you love Josh Allen, he is God up there. If he won a Super Bowl and called you the next day and said, hey, listen, I won you a Super Bowl. It's miserable in Buffalo. I want the domain name joshallen.com. I made you happy, the happiest you've ever been as a sports fan. I want that thing for free. Would you give it to him?
No, now the price goes up to $2 million because the valuation is now doubled.
I don't know, Stugotz, if you noticed, it went from 200,000 yesterday to I reached out. I was like, hey, you guys want to talk? And this morning was 300,000. So the price fluctuates depending on activity, I think.
These guys are businessmen. They don't care. They're assassins, man.
It's the buzz, right? So the stock rises every single day. The MVP is knocking on the door, right? So as the buzz continues to grow, so does the price. But that's still a fire sale and a discounted price compared to the $1 million listing on GoDaddy.
Todd, are you looking for a business partner? I mean,
we're open to discussions. Yes.
Wow. Let's get Sims involved here. Sims is saying that we're treating Mike Vrabel like fucking Vince Lombardi. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm a big fan of Mike Vrabel. I mean, I'm not ready to compare him to Vince Lombardi quite yet, but I think Mike Vrabel is a phenomenal head coach. I do. I mean, I think he's about as close as you're going to get in football to like Parcells and Belichick with that type of attitude. And I think he's actually got a little more Parcells in him in a lot of ways, where he can be like snarky and like charming to the media at the same time, a little bit that way. He's very hands-on with his coaching and what he does on the football field during practice. He's a really good motivator. He's cutting edge with things he does, like training in the offseason. And yeah, I mean, look at what there was there in Tennessee. I mean, he went as a number 1 seed in the AFC playoffs with a team that set the record for the most injuries in a season, and like had to sign all these people. They went to the AFC Championship game with the Ryan Tannehill, who couldn't play, right? Remember, now everybody told me he couldn't play until they saw him playing, and then they went, oh, he can play. And then, but we don't want to give Mike Vrabel the credit for bringing him along a little bit. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Vrabel. I think he is the best candidate out there, no doubt for me.
But he's not Vince Lombardi.
No, he's not Vince Lombardi.
Okay.
Not Vince Lombardi. He's not Bill Belichick. Not
good.
exactly.
Sims, you headed to Texas? What's going on here? Got the whole family?
Yeah. Yep, whole family. Got a 3:30 flight today. Pumped about it. I mean, I really am. I got the kids are excited. My wife was kind of poo-pooing it there for a little bit, giving me this whole spiel like, you're the only one that wants to go. Why are we going to this? And my kids walked in the room in the middle of that, and they were like, no, we want to go. My son was like, oh, I'm pumped. And my daughter was like, yeah, I'm excited, Mom. I don't know what you're talking about. So, she finally came to her senses because if she said it again last night, I was going to go, stay the hell home. We got plenty of other people that want to come.
I'm wondering why she isn't staying home. Sims,
maybe we need to. If she pulls that bullshit today, she's staying home. We got plenty of other people that want to come to the game.
Right here. Ready? I'll hop on a flight. I'll meet you.
Anybody but you. Anybody but you.
Where are we meeting up? Extra room in the
one but us, he said.
Stugotz, I could deal with you and Mikey A.
Wait,
Billy. No, anybody but Billy. Yeah.
I won't take up more than half our bed.
Yeah. Good
Our
luck.
bed.
You can sleep outside on the floor, where a dog's on the mat outside the door. That sounds good.
Why is your wife going? Is she going to she wants to be with the family? What is the deal here?
I guess she feels guilted into it now, but right. Now I don't even know. I don't know why she's going now, but we got her going. She was giving me this whole spiel, when they won, you just said, let's make I want to go, let's go. And she's a loudmouth North Jersey woman who never doesn't share her opinion. And I was like, why didn't you tell me when I said that you really don't want to go? Just tell me that. Why are you telling me 2 nights before we're going that you don't want to do this? So we'll see. Yesterday she said sorry. My kids, I think in a lot of ways were a little bit wow, Hey, Dad, this is a quote from my son. Hey, Dad, we're your buddies. We'll have fun without her. Don't worry. And I think my daughter wants me to bring her boyfriend. And I think my son likes that, too. So they're willing to ditch Mom and leave her ass at home, too.
Ditch Mom for the boyfriend, of course.
Yeah. Did you throw out the idea of Uncle Billy going?
No, I did not. I did not. Nope, I did not.
Do you have Sims's kids calling you Uncle Billy? Is that?
Yeah, they're probably close to my age, honest.
It's funny. Ohio State, everyone to fire Ryan Day, and now they're the most talented team in the country, the favorite to win the national championship.
Right? Is it not kind of funny how quickly it turned in 3 weeks? Literally, they're the most overrated, overhyped team ever, to literally I want to be like SpongeBob 14 days later. They're the best team we've ever seen. I don't know if anybody can beat them. I mean, they're dangerous. They're talented as hell. I know that. They're the most talented team in college football, but not by so much that they can just waltz through this game against Texas. Our D is real. I think our D will pose problems for them, and their defense is very good. But they play a style, and that I think that it'll fit us being able to throw the football down the field. They're pretty aggressive. They'll play man-to-man on the outside. They'll do stuff like that. And if we have, number 7, Bond, totally healthy, you better be careful about playing us totally man-to-man like that. We got guys in a system and a quarterback that certainly can make some big plays down the field. So, yeah, of course I give ourselves a chance to win this game.
Chris, is Steve Sarkisian a coach you could see coaching in the NFL?
I think, yes. I think he's one of the few that could probably make that crossover. One, I mean, he's a quarterback guy. He's an offensive guy. He's had a little history in the NFL. Of course, he worked for Nick Saban, which is as close as you're going to get in the college football level to NFL game planning and detail and preparation. I look at it and go, he's always got a few little new wrinkles and game plan ideas. So I do think he has that capability. Yes. I mean, it's not easy, as you know, but yeah, offensive game plan designer who's creative and knows how to kind of coexist and bring a quarterback along. I think that's always going to be fancied in the NFL. And yeah, I think he is on a short list of guys that could actually get that done.
What do you make of these reports that Quinn Ewers might stay in college for a 5th year, not at Texas, somewhere else, it's somewhere in the neighborhood of $6 to $10 million, as opposed to going to the NFL?
Yeah, it's crazy. I would do that if I was him. Yeah. Right. I had this conversation a little bit with, I think, Dan Patrick about 2 weeks ago, and that's what I expected. They're going to Arch Manning next year. That is not an option. They are super excited about what Arch Manning could be. And they're giving you the signals that they think they can be way greater than they are even now with Arch Manning at quarterback if he gets time to play and gets the reps and all that. Ewers, right? I think if he was like, oh, wait, the NFL views me as a fringe first rounder or maybe a second rounder, I'd go, see you later. But the NFL doesn't view him like that. He's got to make a few more people believers. Just like you said, again, like you saw in the Arizona State game. There's just a few throws and a few plays every game where you just go, wait, you're too good to miss that throw or lob the ball up to let somebody knock it down. I think he needs to go one more year and kind of work on some things to improve himself, which will then improve his stock, in the NFL eyes or the people that are important in the NFL eyes.
Chris, there are reports that I think 5 or 6 teams have reached out to Bill Belichick. Now, Belichick is at North Carolina. Diana Rossini reported that he's staying at North Carolina, at least for now. You know Belichick very well. Is Belichick going to give Carolina at least one season?
I think so. I would expect that. But I would still be, if I'm like, the dean at North Carolina or whatever, I'd be a little worried right now. I would be. I think Bill Belichick, first off, I think he panicked. That would be the first thing. I think he wanted to know or have a deal kind of in place, right? Like, wink, wink, we're going to hire you. We're going to go through the interview process and do all the things that we need to do. But when it's all said and done, we'll be wink, wink back to you, and we're going to hire Bill Belichick. He never got that. So I think because of that, he panicked a little bit and went to college football. But within that, anybody that knows him or has ever been around him, we all question whether he fits college football, right? For a lot of reasons. I know you and I, we've all discussed this a little bit, but the recruiting, dealing with Jimmy and Johnny's mom, dealing with the fact that he's going to have to game plan way more simple than he ever has in his life. Is he going to be mentally intrigued by that? Like, right? Is that going to keep him going when he has to play like, oh, I got to play cover 4 for 9 out of the 10 next snaps here because I got young kids who didn't get enough reps and I can't even do some of the crazy, awesome stuff that I can really do. So there's that aspect and all of that, and let alone relating to young kids and a kid that's different than back in the old days when he grew up or anything like that. You hear Brady and Gronk, none of them thought he would do this or be able to coexist in a college environment. So that would scare me. And yeah, if you made me bet, I would say it's one and done. And then he hands it over to Stephen Belichick to become the head coach, and then he tries to find a spot. But I still would be scared right now because $10 million is chump change to any owner who wants to buy him out. $10 million is chump change to Bill Belichick. I mean, right. Bill Belichick is swimming in it. He's got more money than he knows what to do with. So that means nothing, I think, in the long run, other than his reputation will take a big hit if he leaves right now.
I think the job he wants, if there's an NFL job he wants to punctuate his career with, it would be the New York Giants, right?
I mean, I think that would be his spot for sure. But I don't know if the Giants would be the place I'd want to go to right now if I'm Bill Belichick, just because the Giants, I think, is a project, right? And we know they're keeping their coach and their GM anyways. But, like, if you heard anything Mike Lombardi, who's close to Belichick, say, right, there's the jobs this year are not viewed as that great, right? Usually when you have 7 or 8 job openings, there's 1 or 2 that you look at and go, that team's pretty damn good. The coach was just horrible there and was messing it up. I'd like to take over that team. I think Chicago was that team in this hiring cycle. I think Bill was trying to get to Chicago because of that. Chicago's really ready. You just need another offensive lineman or 2, maybe 1 more defensive playmaker, and you go, okay, we're pretty good, and now let's just bring this rookie quarterback along. I also think that's why Tampa was on his radar in a big way, because there was Todd Bowles, maybe retires and gets out, and he's looking at Tampa going, they got a lot of stuff that works down there. Everything else is a little bit of a project or unknown. But I feel like, to your point, though, if all was equal, yeah, I still think the Giants are a very special place to him and in his heart.
The only thing I'll say about that Chicago job is you have to deal with Jordan Love, the Vikings, and Dan Campbell and Jared Goff for the next 10 years. You know,
I know. You're right. Yeah. And that's a tough thing to do. It's like I was kind of saying those same things with like Sean Payton and Jim Harbaugh. Like, wait, are you sure you want to go to the AFC West and deal with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, right? But sometimes you just got to take the best situation available and go, okay, this allows me to be my best, and now let's see if I can compete and beat the best at my best. And that's sometimes all it boils down to.
Chris, looking at the playoffs this weekend, obviously, every matchup is difficult, but is there a team you want to see more than the Texans at this moment? That seems like the team that if you get your choice in the first round, especially if you're going on the road, Houston seems like a winnable game for the Chargers.
Yes, agreed. I mean, Houston, if they're not in the AFC South, are they even in the playoffs? I mean, I don't know. They haven't played like a playoff football team the last 10 or 11 weeks. I mean, got off to a hot start. And what are they over the last 11 games? I might be off by or so. Like they're 5-6, right? Something like that.
Yes.
It's nothing special. We got offensive concerns, right? Everybody wants to blame C.J. Stroud, which is stupid. When I watch C.J. Stroud, he still hits every open throw. He still plays at a high level. There just ain't much there for him to do. They can't protect. They have long developing pass plays down the field. And that doesn't make sense when you can't protect, right? I mean, that makes no sense. Their running game is iffy. It's average at best. The defense has got some talent. It does. But you worry about it where, okay, they don't do a ton on defense. Two of their greatest assets are their pass rushers, and I think that gets wiped out a little bit in this game because Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt are damn good tackles. So they're not going to be like, oh, we got to help with a tight end or a back in these situations. They're going to feel good about those matchups. And because they're a little predictable on defense, Houston, I think Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman will have some plays that'll screw them for, lack of a better way to say it. I took the Chargers to win 24-17. I don't have faith in Houston. They've been going the wrong way for a long time here.
PFT with Mike Florio every day on Peacock, the Unbuttoned podcast, Football Night in America. Chris Sims is with us here on God Bless Football. What's the game you're most excited for this weekend?
I think it's the Packers-Eagles game has, I think, the biggest potential to be special. Just because I think the Packers are one of the few teams in football that will never be physically outclassed by a team like the Eagles, the Lions, the Chiefs, the Ravens. They can hang right in there with them, right? The big question is Jordan Love, his health, the fact that he hasn't played that well, the fact that they're going into the playoffs after losing to Chicago and they were trying to win that game last week. And the Eagles are going to be a fresh football team. Other than Jalen Hurts, like he hasn't played and he's just about to get out of concussion protocol. That's your only concern there. But that game has a chance. I'm taking the Eagles, right? But I still think there's a lot of heavy hitters on the field. Bothers me in Green Bay. They have no Christian Watson, right? Romeo Doubs has been going through some stuff. Jordan Love, of course, not at his best. That worries me a little bit as far as Green Bay is concerned.
If the Eagles happen to lose this game, is there a chance Nick Sirianni gets fired afterwards?
I think that it could be a real possibility. Like my workmate Mike Florio, who you just talked about in PFT, I think he thinks there's a chance. Right, a team that talented, if they go out one and done,
right,
there could be trouble. He also thinks there's a chance Baltimore Ravens, like if they go one and done with this team, Harbaugh could be in trouble. If it looks bad against and let's say vice versa, the Baltimore dominates Pittsburgh. He has a thought, and usually Mike, when he has a thought, he's getting inklings from somewhere that he thinks that Tomlin could be in trouble too. So, we got some playoff teams here certainly that could have some drama if things don't go the right way this weekend.
The Harbaugh one is interesting because he kind of skates by. He's won 2 playoff games in the last decade, and he's had the 2-time MVP on his roster.
That's what I think where it might come to a head if they disappoint here, right? I don't expect them to. I'm taking them to beat the Steelers. I think the Steelers are going like this and the Ravens are going like this right now. I expect them to control the game. I picked Ravens 35-20. So if it goes as expected, he'll be okay. But yeah, I think that what you're saying, the Ravens fans know that, and that's why, every few years you kind of hear like a rumbling of, I don't know, is John Harbaugh still going to be the head coach of the Ravens? And I think it's kind of the things you're alluding to that, rub some people the wrong way in that fan base.
Chris, what's wrong with the Steelers? They're on this giant skid, and there's no big injury or something where you could point to and go, oh, well, they lost that guy, and that's why they're not doing it.
Yeah, I think that people figured out how Russell Wilson led Pittsburgh Steelers want to play football a little bit. The one thing you see with Russell Wilson, and watching back even the Ravens game, the last one they played, which was 34-17 Ravens, and it was closer than that. That was a misleading score. But Wilson's made some mistakes lately. Wilson's definitely turned down some completions. Middle of the field is still an issue with Russell Wilson. It's an issue. And if there's an advantage to have in this matchup, Freiermuth down the middle against Roquan Smith. There was people open down the middle in the last matchup against the Ravens. He's reluctant to throw the ball into those windows. I don't know if it's because he's shorter and he can't see, or if he's just very protective of the ball, but he's going to have to be a little more aggressive in this one. I think, too, the other thing you start to realize is that, when they don't have George Pickens and he's not focused and he's dropping the ball or talking too much, you can see that they're just not the same offense. There's nobody that scares you. So I think it's a little bit of all of that. And then the defense is good, but it's not great. I think that's probably the big thing I look there. I'm expecting Baltimore to kind of control this game, Mikey A. Like jump off to a big lead and then kind of take the foot off the gas pedal, and Pittsburgh kind of comes back to make it look respectable. But I don't think they're in the same class as the Baltimore Ravens right now.
Chris, how big a loss was it for the Vikings to lose in Week 18 the way they did? Not just losing the 1 seed in home field, but to be dominated by the team that you're ultimately going to have to go through to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I get you there, right? Now, where I think I'll fight back on you a little bit is the word dominate, right? Because the score looks dominant. I understand that. It does. But let's not forget,
Sam Darnold missed a lot of throws.
A lot of throws, a lot of reads, right?
The game cost him a lot of money, too.
Media. Yeah. Right. There was guys where you go, he's the first read. He's wide open, but he's already he was jittery, and he was already moving to somebody else. And it's like, wait. The second guy's not even where he needs to be yet because you got off the first guy who's wide open for a touchdown. Just throw it. So, yeah, he didn't play good. But Kevin O'Connell will be able to say it that way. Now, they had 4 consecutive drives where 3 of them, they were inside the 5-yard line, and 1 of them, they were at the 8-yard line, and they got 2 field goals out of those 4 drives. That was it. The other 2 drives inside the 5 and came away with 0 points. He's going to be able to sell to his team, look, if Sam makes this throw, or, hey, we've seen Sam make this read, if we play them again, this game ain't 31-9. Their defense played well for the better part of the football game. So, O'Connell said this on Monday. He said, we can't forget that we won 9 in a row and we were really good. We didn't play our best last night and we messed up. And that's what he's going to have to kind of sell and beat into the brain of his football team. 31-9 was misleading. I think that game was closer than that, and they certainly blew some opportunities to put some pressure on Detroit early in the football game and make it be a little bit of a different football game in general.
Chris, after Lamar Jackson, who has the most amount of pressure on them headed into the postseason?
I think it's Josh Allen.
So do I.
Right? I think they're kind of in the same boat when I look at it that way, right? Lamar Jackson is, for as great as he is, what is it so far? Is it 2 playoff wins? Or we had 2?
Yeah, I think
right?
so. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of remarkable for a guy that's the 2-time league MVP, maybe about to be the 3rd one, like Mikey A was just talking about, or you were talking about with the Harbaugh stuff, and we've only won 2 games. So there's a lot of pressure on him. But Josh Allen has the same amount of pressure, and it might not just be about it might not be winning playoff games, but it's can you get to the championship? Can you get to the Super Bowl? Can you get there that way? But I think those 2 are the 2 that are under the most pressure. They're so talented. They're as talented as we've ever seen in football. They're all-time greats. They're just missing this part of their resume to say playoff, big wins, and all that type of stuff, and that's why there's a lot of pressure on them.
So he has an opportunity here, Sims, because you know this. He has an opportunity to erase all the demons. He could beat Tomlin in the first round. He can go to Buffalo, take out Josh Allen in the second round. He can go to Kansas City and take out Mahomes in the AFC Championship game just to get to the Super Bowl.
That's right. And that's what Josh Allen's saying. He's going, I just got to beat Sean Payton this week. And then if I beat Lamar Jackson and then I go on the road and we beat Kansas City, damn, all the demons will be off my back. So it's funny. They're in the same boat. Right? It really is. It's crazy that way. And then to go to the Super Bowl, like you said, and then have to deal with, who knows what team, the Lions, the Eagles, and go, oh, shit. Well, they're pretty good. We got to beat them. Does that count? Does this one count? I don't know what's going to happen, right? But these are the things that we know. Greatness in the NFL pantheon, the Hall of Famers, all of that. They're judged on these moments, and it's unfortunate that three greats like this are all on the same side of the bracket and got to deal with each other, but that's just the way it is, and that's what's going to make this playoffs awesome.
So switching over now to the NFL coaching search right now. If you were an NFL head coaching candidate, which is the job that Chris Sims would want the most? Because a lot of people now are saying, hey, the Patriots are a good landing spot because they have a quarterback. They're going to have some cap room. The idea of getting Trevor Lawrence, which we know you're never going to turn down, but the idea of getting Trevor Lawrence is something a lot of people are salivating over. Chicago is one that intrigues a lot of people. You now have Las Vegas that became available this week, where you have Tom Brady calling the shots, which might not be the best thing there. But which is one that if you were a head coaching candidate, you would desire the most?
Well, Brady will know the right coaches, right? I know you guys released some shit on social media about me and all the damn Brady stuff last week. But
that was Billy. That wasn't me.
I'm a believer in Brady. I am, as far as a football mind. I like Tom Brady a lot. And in fact, it hurts me that goes out on social media just because I like him. But I still stand by what I said. But either way,
cut out all the like him stuff before this, then just play all this negative he's going to say now.
Shut up. I don't like you, so shut that up. All right.
Yes. This is why you're not invited to the Texas game, and me and Mikey A.
I'll be there.
I think you hit the teams and the points there, Billy. I think you're right in what you're saying. Right. I mean, I know you don't like Trevor Lawrence, and there might be other people in football that feel the same way. I get that, but it's still not a bad one to have. And the Jaguars, a little bit like you said, like I said with the Bears. Wait, we got receivers, we got a running back, we got two of them actually. We got some pass rushers, we got some guys in the secondary. We just need to kind of improve the O-line a little bit and get maybe a better defensive tackle in there. So they're not far off. The Bears, I already explained that, right? Not far off. And you got the quarterback there. And the Patriots, they're a little more work than the Jaguars and the Bears as far as the full team. But you do have Drake May, certainly, right? But, there's a lot more to do there. And that's where, I feel bad for Gerard Mayo is that, they finished exactly where I think everybody thought they would finish. Nobody looked at the Patriots and went, oh, they're an under-the-radar sleeping giant this year. Watch out for them. I mean, there's not a lot of bright spots on their football team. They got a few good secondary players, right? They got Drake May. They got Ramondre Stevenson. After that, everybody's going to be looking, evaluated to see whether they should be the guys going forward. So, there's a little more work there in New England than those other two.
Yeah, Chris, I'm seeing a lot of analysts say the Patriots are one of the best jobs out there. And everything we've heard for decades is you got to build through the draft. You got to build through the draft. And then supposedly having $130 million in cap space is one of the big reasons that the Patriots is an attractive job. And I'm like, yeah, but then you're building a free agent team. And we've all seen, especially us Jet fans, how these free agent teams wind up.
Yes, you got to find the best of both worlds. I think that's what the really good football teams do, is you can, hopefully get somebody in there, and now we can have a vision of what we want to do with the draft. But the biggest thing is, hey, we got some money that can kind of jumpstart that thing right now and get us off on the right foot as we wait for some of these draft guys to come up and we make them better and improve them as football players. That's what you want, and that's what's going to be appealing to a future head coach and whoever that might be. What you don't want is like what you're talking about. Is we got money, and now we're going to sell off our building the team draft picks for the future assets for other high price veterans or stuff like that. And then all of a sudden your team becomes a bunch of like older renegade veteran, big money players. And it's hard to sustain success like that. That's the problem. The good teams do it the way you're talking about. Right? The Philadelphia Eagles, that's where I'd start. Look at what they've done in the draft, and then they just find a little splash here and there in the free agency, right? The Kansas City Chiefs are still one of the youngest teams in football, to your point, because they've done it through the draft, and then they find a guy every now and then here in free agency, but even with them, it's not much. But that's what you hope for, is to have that best of both worlds there, Mikey A, because you're right. You don't want to go total free agency money.
Chris, I want to explore just how far out I can push this. So if I told you I think the Rams are going to make it to the Super Bowl, would you be surprised?
I think I would be right now. I would.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I pain in the ass, certainly. Right. I'm picking Minnesota to win that game this weekend, but only by a field goal. But I worry about what I've seen from the Rams offense. And even though the Rams defense has been better as of late, I don't know if it's good enough to hold down the fort if the offense can't be explosive and put up some points. So I look at them to be a team that could maybe, they can win this weekend, maybe could upset one of the teams in the next round. I certainly don't think that's crazy, but I would think it kind of ends there, right around that story. That's about it.
If I told you the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were going to make it to the Super Bowl, you would say what?
I would say kind of the same type of stuff. More, though, I really worry about the Tampa Bay pass defense. Their offense is capable of going to the Super Bowl. They can do it all. It's the defensive side and the pass defense especially. I know I've made fun of them a little bit here on the show before, but, I mean, Todd Bowles, the Bucs, they play defense every week like they're playing the 92 Cowboys. And I want to go, why? I mean, there was plays last week when I'm watching the game in the viewing room here at NBC, and I'm going, Alvin Kamara's not playing, and the Saints can't run the ball, and there's 6 guys at the line of scrimmage. Look at this. And I'm literally calling out. I guarantee they throw it over the middle where nobody is. I guarantee they do this. It's just way too aggressive in the run defense. Way too aggressive. Let alone they have injuries all over their secondary. It makes no sense. So that's why I don't have faith in that. They're just a little too much of a roller coaster team right now.
So it seems like you'd be surprised by any team other than Philadelphia or the Lions to make it out of the NFC. Is that fair?
I would say that's fair. Okay. It is fair. I would have maybe about 3 weeks ago, I would have put Green Bay in that conversation, but they've lost me. I don't trust the offense right now, and Jordan Love and all that's gone down there. Christian Watson hurt now. So, yeah, I feel like if it's not Lions or Philadelphia, I'm going to be jaw dropped like, holy shit, I can't believe it.
And in the AFC, if it's any team other than the 3 teams, Baltimore, Buffalo, Kansas City, are you going to be surprised? Let's say the Chargers make it.
Yes, I would. Yeah. Same thing. I mean, jaw on the ground. What the? No way, right? Yeah, I think it's the 3 heavy hitters. I'll be shocked. I will be absolutely shocked if it's not one of those 3 teams, 100%, Stugotz.
Now, here's the interesting one. If Cincinnati made the playoffs and then went on to make the Super Bowl, would you have been shocked?
Probably not. No, less than the other ones. I know. That's what's crazy, and that's what stinks. And that's what stinks about when a team that's good blows games early in the year or loses games they're not supposed to lose, then we get cheated out of the best possible playoff scenarios. So, yeah, they're not in it, but Denver's not a bad consolation. Denver with Sean Payton and Bo Nix, and they've already won the year. They're playing with house money. They'll be dangerous this weekend. I think that'll be a fun game, kind of one where it's a shootout and the Bills pull away late. That's kind of what I'm expecting.
All right, we'll get you out of here in just a second. PFT with Mike Florio every day on Peacock, the Unbuttoned podcast, Football Night in America. He's off to Texas. He's going to the Cotton Bowl. But hear me out on this, okay? Because I believe that the Chiefs have a different kind of pressure on them headed into the postseason. Last year, the story was Patrick Mahomes woke up one day. They had 3 road games to win. He called his wife. He said, I decided the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl, okay? This year, though, Chris, he has one of the most coveted things in the sports. It reminds me of the Patriots, where they have a bye week. They have 2 home games to get to a Super Bowl. You have to take advantage of those opportunities. And if you're chasing Tom Brady to be the all-time great, you need to be the all-time best quarterback in NFL history. You need to do things that Tom has never done and no quarterback has ever done, and winning 3 straight is one of those things. There is some pressure here on the Chiefs to get it done right now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's why what they've done this year is remarkable. That's why Andy Reid should be more in the Coach of the Year candidate conversation. I don't get that. I don't get it. I mean, it's just, oh, hey, here's another challenge. They can't do that. Oh, they do it easily. Oh, okay. Oh, and so they can't be, a top team in the AFC for a 3rd year in a row and make a Super Bowl. Oh, they're the best record in football. Oh, okay, they can do it. I mean, yeah, they've slayed so many dragons at this point, though, Stugotz. They don't look at anything as pressure. They look at it all as like, yeah, bring it on. Bring it on. We're going to show you how great we are. That I've been around them enough to know and seen them at practice and playoff games and all that. They don't back down from anything, right? Just like the Patriots, they were the same way, except the Chiefs are a little bit more of like, yeah, we want it. Bring it. Taylor Swift haters, come on. Bring it all. We love it all, right? That's where I don't think they feel the pressure. They like are... Instead of feeling the pressure, it's just we're striving to be the greatest thing ever, and we're going to just pedal to the metal and not even think twice about it and go for it. That's what's cool about the Chiefs, and that's where they've handled so many pressure moments that I don't even know if they can feel pressure anymore, Stugotz.
All right, but knowing Patrick the way you know Patrick, like he knows that, right? He knows he's yes. Okay.
Definitely. He knows all the things you said. He knows exactly. To me, what you said is one of the big reasons they have stayed the course and done what they've done this year. Because they got a guy in Mahomes who then has a backup man in Kelsey who they could go, hey, they can every day. And Chris Jones is the same way on the defensive side. We got something special we can do this year. Nobody can do this. Nobody's done this. Those great Cowboy teams, the great Steeler teams, the 49ers, Tom Brady and the Patriots, we can set aside. I might not be able to get to 7, but I can maybe get 5 or 6 and go, but you never won 3 in a row, Tom, right? All of that. And I think that's why they're a motivated team, because their motivators are motivated by what you're talking about.
It is time for this week's edition of Stugotz, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. DraftKings, the crown is yours. NFL Super Wildcard Weekend. It is here. 1-5-1 a week ago. I'm limping into the playoffs. What a regular season, though. 79-48-3. I know what you're saying. Do it in the postseason. I'm going to do my best. Here we go. Chargers -3 at the Texans. Chargers really good. Texans have no idea if they're any good. Buy it down to 2.5. Take the Chargers. They win. They cover the Chargers by 10 points on the road. Ravens, Lamar Jackson. Speaking of doing it in the playoffs, -9.5. Take the Ravens. They win. They cover the Ravens by 14 points at home over the Steelers. Bills at home, -8.5, taking on the Broncos. Buy it down to 8. Take Buffalo. They win. They cover Buffalo by 17 points at home. Packers +4.5. They're at Philadelphia, taking on the Eagles. The Eagles win. The Packers cover. I wanted to say the Packers win. Sirianni gets fired, which might very well happen, but the Eagles win, and they win by a point. Last-second field goal. How about that? But the Pack, they get the cover. I'm taking the Packers +4.5. Commanders +3 on the road. They're taking on Tampa. Buy it up to 3.5. Take the Commanders. They win the game outright. They beat Tampa by 6 points. Sorry, Baker Mayfield. And finally, Rams, Vikings in a game that will likely be moved to Arizona. I am taking the Rams here to win the game outright. They cover the spread. They win the game. The Rams by 7 points. Super Wild Card Weekend. It is here. Good luck, everyone.